Once upon a time, as a merchant set off for market, he asked each of his 3 daughters what she would like as a present on his return. The first daughter wanted a brocade dress, the second a pearl necklace, but the third, whose name was Beauty, the youngest, prettiest, and sweetest of them all, said to her father, "All I'd like is a rose you've picked specially for me." When the merchant had finished his business, he set off for home. However, a sudden storm blew up. Cold and tired, the merchant had lost all hope of reaching an inn. Suddenly, he noticed a bright light shining in the middle of a wood. As he drew near, he saw that it was a castle. When he reached the door, he saw it was open. But though he shouted, nobody came to greet him. He went inside. On a table in the main hall, a splendid dinner lay already served. No one answered his calls, so the starving merchant sat down to a hearty meal. Curious, he went upstairs, where the hall led into magnificent rooms. A fire crackled in the first room, and a soft bed looked very inviting. It was now late. He lay down on the bed and fell fast asleep. When he woke next morning, he found a mug of steaming coffee and some fruit by his bedside. The merchant had breakfast and went downstairs to thank his host. But there was nobody in sight. He wandered outside into the garden. Suddenly, a large rosebush caught his eye. Remembering his promise to Beauty, he bent down to pick a rose. Instantly, out of the rose garden sprang a horrible beast, wearing splendid clothes. A deep, terrifying voice growled,
"Ungrateful man! I gave you shelter. You ate at my table and slept in my own bed. But now all the thanks I get is the theft of my favorite flowers. I shall put you to death."
Trembling with fear, the merchant fell on his knees before the beast. "Forgive me! Don't kill me! I'll do anything you say. The rose wasn't for me. It was for my daughter Beauty. I promised to bring her back a rose from my journey."
"I shall spare your life, but on one condition, that you bring me your daughter."
The terror-stricken merchant promised that he would. He arrived home in tears and told his daughters his dreadful adventure. Beauty put his mind at rest immediately. "Dear father, don't worry. Take me to the castle. I'll stay there in your place." The merchant hugged his daughter. "I never did doubt your love for me. Thank you for saving my life." So Beauty was led to the castle. Surprisingly, the beast greeted the girl pleasantly. At first, Beauty was frightened of the beast. Then she found that in spite of the monster's awful head, her horror of it was gradually fading as time went by. She had one of the finest rooms in the castle, and sat for hours embroidering in front of the fire, and the beast would sit only a short distance away, silently gazing at her. Then it started to say a few kind words, till in the end Beauty was actually enjoying its company. The days passed, and Beauty and the beast became good friends. Then one day the beast asked the girl to be his wife. Taken by surprise, Beauty did not know what to say. Marry such an ugly monster? She would rather die, but did not want to hurt its feelings. She owed it her own life as well as her father's. "I really can't say yes. I'd so much like to." The beast interrupted her.
"I quite understand, and am not offended by your refusal."
Life went on as usual, and nothing further was said. One day the beast presented Beauty with a magnificent magic mirror. When Beauty peeped into it, she could see her family far away.
You won't feel so lonely now,
said the beast. Beauty stared for hours at her distant family. One day, the beast found her weeping beside the magic mirror.
What's wrong?
He asked kindly as always. My father is very ill and close to dying. Oh, how I wish I could see him again before it's too late.
If you swear that you will return here in 7 days' time, I'll let you go and visit your father.
I swear I will. How kind you are. You've made a loving daughter so happy. Beauty returned to her father and stayed beside him for hours on end, describing her life at the castle and explaining that the beast was really good and kind. The days passed, and at last the merchant was able to leave his bed. He was completely well again. Beauty was happy at last. However, she had not noticed that 7 days had gone by. Then, one night, she woke from a terrible nightmare. She had dreamt that the beast was dying and calling for her.
Come back. Come back to me.
It was pleading. Beauty remembered her promise and left home immediately. Once at the castle, she ran into the garden, and there crouched the beast, its eyes shut as though dead. Beauty threw herself at it and hugged it tightly. Don't die! Don't die! I'll marry you! At these words, a miracle took place. The beast magically turned into a handsome young man. How I've been longing for this moment, he said. An evil witch turned me into a monster, and only the love of a maiden, willing to accept me as I was, could change me back into my real self. My dearest, I'll be so happy if you marry me. The wedding took place shortly after, and from that day on, the young prince would have nothing but roses in his gardens, and that's why, to this day, the castle is known as the Castle of the Rose.